Hey, my name's Matt. I'm one of the co-founders here at comics.ai, and I'm just here to run you through our digital evangelism framework. Got the PowerPoint here, so super keen to run you through our mission as a business to help you and your church reach more people. You know, Matthew 28 talks about making disciples of all the nations, and so our nation currently heavily burdened, or some may say benefiting by social media and the online world. We are adapting to make sure that we are sharing the gospel efficiently and effectively, and that's what I want to take you through. This is basically a little flywheel in terms of what our digital framework runs off. So obviously ministering and equipping the flock. I talked about Matthew 28 there. Super important for us as Christians and believers to be ministering and equipping the flock. That is the purpose and essence of the Christian faith in terms of our doing. Obviously receiving grace is the other side of that. Evangelism, to spread the good news, again, Matthew 28, to bring the converted into the fold, into the flock, and then we're going to, in repeat, minister and equip the flock. So super exciting, and you know, this is the essence of the Christian life. This is what our business burns on, is making sure that we're doing that effectively and efficiently. The vision for comics.ai is equipping the modern congregation with modern tools to reach the unreached. That is the biggest essence of comics.ai, while, of course, staying true to the gospel, faithful to the purpose, and committing to what God has commanded us to do. That is our vision, and that is what I'm trying to explain through our offer as a business to you. The digital evangelical framework is really important because not only can you enhance your reach, say you have a church of around 250 people in your congregation, being able to reach that many people every single day through social media, through posting regularly, which I'll cover later in this video, but being able to do that efficiently, one, gives you less work as a church. I know the church office elders, people, deacons have many different roles, and is obviously an extremely busy role to fulfill. And so obviously a lot of the time social media and outreach in the digital world gets pushed towards the back and the lower priority. And I understand that. The people in your midst, in your flock right there, obviously have an extreme priority in you as maybe a senior pastor or pastor in the church, a leader in the church, in taking care of. So us as comics.ai can come in and help you and your church. So obviously you can 10x your reach and 100 times the impact. If you're being able to reach 10 times the amount of people, not only have I seen the fruit of evangelizing online, but it is an extremely beneficial thing for a church to have. So obviously there's a why. Jesus took the message from the temples to the beaches, to the lakes, the mountains, the streets. And so should we. You know, obviously, again, I'm harping the fact of Matthew 28 of going out and making disciples of all the nations. But I guess the most important thing, it has to be done with authenticity to your church, whatever denomination you are sitting in, and how you're going to be reaching your congregation and the wider community that may be following your church from the local area, as well as a broader Australia and Oceania. A sermon that impacts 200 people once can now impact those 200 people plus some every day of the week. If people are sharing these videos as well as being able to interact, not only does it allow those congregations to re-listen to some important parts of the message, which allows them to remember it. We all know a Sunday, if you miss a few key points and you're busy thinking about something else, which unfortunately happens, that being able to revisit those sermons throughout the week is extremely valuable. And when it's done in a coherent way and a very professional manner, being able to equip people, not necessarily on a Sunday, but every day of the week, is extremely valuable. And I guess that's our why. We want to mimic what Jesus did. And obviously the modern world is completely digital. So that is exactly why we are using what we've got and what the Lord has given us so graciously. So I guess is the core message of the digital evangelism framework. And basically that is to serve. We serve our members of our congregation, we equip them, and then we send them that unreached community. And that unreached community ends up coming back into our congregation, so we serve them. So that is kind of the digital flywheel of how our business model works. and how churches work in general, and how where we as a product, as a business, as a service can aid your church in reaching the unreached community. Extremely important that we do that. And so it's one that comes with challenges. Obviously there are workloads, budgets, resources, volunteers end up being strained. And so resources are valuable and time is valuable, especially in churches where there may be only 1 or 2 paid staff members. I've met churches, I've been in churches where it's only 1, and I've been in churches where it's 3 or 4 or 5 people. And so obviously social media being one of the last things people pay attention to in church, which I understand happens because when you're in a church, you have so many people that are in need of your time, as well as preparing sermons, preparing worship, preparing so many different outreaches in your community that the digital world ends up being forgotten. And so we can work with that. Obviously, that is what we're here to do. We're here to take that away from you so that you guys can do less work. But basically what we want to offer is obviously the work that's done in the physical world, that is you as the senior pastor or whoever is preaching that week, or obviously give their sermon, give their instruction, their wise teaching to their congregation. And then we come in and we're going to repurpose that. We're going to use technology to repurpose the format for application in the digital realm. So that is where we obviously can create different forms of content, so many different forms of content, which is what I'm going to come with from your one sermon, so that we can create many different avenues to reaching that unreached. So obviously creating an equipped, organized community to do effective outreach. That is awesome. Obviously, churches become strained with time, especially around busy seasons and holidays and stuff like that. So what we come in and we do is we create on-message and accurate reels, short-form content from your sermon. We'll give you 3 of those a week, as well as creating blog posts, newsletters, and all stuff like that. But I think what the most important thing is that we take work away from you so that you can be more productive elsewhere, and that you can spend more time doing in-person outreach within your community of churches, whether that be run clubs or men's nights or women's gatherings, stuff like that within your community. This is where we come into the thick of it. So obviously you produce your sermon, we're going to repurpose that. We can repurpose that and obviously upload that to YouTube. We're going to create shorts and reels, 3 of them a week, highly engaging, short, you can between 50 to 45 seconds of a sermon to really capture the essence of what you were trying to deliver on that Sunday. We're going to create newsletter summaries, blog posts, static images from some important quotes within that sermon, as well as creating 2, 3, 4, 5 day devotionals from that sermon. So that is really important if you have in-week community groups or Bible studies. So maybe the leaders can draw information from those devotionals to really have summarized, obviously, your sermon so that they can effectively deliver everything they need to. So obviously that phase 1 of infrastructure, getting that set up, obviously connecting your social links, meeting with your church, getting on a personal level with your church so that we can really engage with you guys best as possible. And obviously through your production and giving you tips and processes and resources to improve your production and create a better quality output, which we can repurpose and then finally distribute. So what we plan on doing, I guess the phase 1 of implementation obviously starts from stakeholder identification, really meeting with your team and I guess creating a collective goal. There with many different stakeholders within a church that kind of decide on these things. Obviously project plan and budget, really important to work with your church and to see what we can deliver for you and how we can value that community outreach that we're trying to achieve. Obviously onboard and upskilling. We have so many people in the industry, in the church world, working on production, as well as the digital realm of production too. So, we're a highly skilled team with many years of experience in business, as well as our Christian faith being at the core essence of, my entire life, as well as my business partner. We'll run a trial run. We're on board. We'll show you what it works. We can give you a few examples of how that works with some previous messages, iterate and debug anything that comes up that we need to trial and process, as well as then setting a hard launch for your congregation and getting you equipped into that thing. And we don't leave you. We will stay by your side, helping you quality control, report, support, everything like that, to be with your church and by your side to obviously effectively communicate everything that we need to, quarterly reviews and stuff like that. Phase 2, I spoke about phase 1 there, really repurposing that short form content from your sermon through blog posts and devotionals and day-to-day messages and key lessons that we can go through. But the community is something that really excites me as well. It's obviously building out a social community that uses modern technologies and familiar tools and environments to replicate the physical community. The digital community will serve as a mechanism that complements and expands the functions of the congregation. So how this works is really cool. The community is somewhere where people can join via an app on their phone or through website on their computer, and they can obviously get announcements and messages from key leaders in the team to the congregation so that people can interact with that community, as well as we can create subgroups and channels through that community, so that if they are in a specific group, say my Bible study, we have a specific group named something, and that is where I can obviously put lots of resources out, as well as a senior pastor thing. They could put out their devotionals, they could put out their resources. It's just a great way for the church to act as a community. I know too many churches that organize a lot of their teams and interact with their communities through messenger chats or telegrams, and information gets lost, whereas community, you can have calendar functions, group events, everything's in the one section, and we will host that for you. And if you would like to obviously ask me more about that, I'm so stoked to jump on a call with you and run through that. But for now, that is kind of the process of what we offer and what our mission is at Comex.ai, to equip and serve your church so that you could better interact with your community of Christians, and then obviously reaching the unreached, something that's so powerful and important as a Christian to be doing. We love you. We bless you. We hope you have an amazing day. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Super stoked to be working with you guys, hopefully in the future. And let's reach the unreached. Peace.